Welcome to Reading a Book of Mormon with a Believer, verse by verse. If you want to get caught up on previous episodes, see my Reading Book of Mormon playlist. Today is day 24, chapter 20 in 1 Nephi. Let's go ahead and get started. Grab your copy or feel free to just listen. Now, before I actually start reading the chapter, I want to tell you a little bit about what to expect. We are getting into the Isaiah sections. So for the next little bit, Nephi will be quoting Isaiah, and then there will be a little break, and then he'll go back to quoting Isaiah some more. In the last decade, I personally have come to grow an appreciation for the Isaiah sections. I don't expect everyone to be there on the first pass, so if you feel a little bored or aren't sure what's going on, don't worry about it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on chapter 20. It's a fairly short one, so we'll breeze through this. The little summary is the Lord reveals his purposes to Israel. Israel has been chosen in the furnace of affliction and is to go forth from Babylon. Compare Isaiah 48. It happens about 588 to 570 BC. Hearken and hear this, O house of Jacob, who are called by the name of Israel, and are come forth out of the waters of Judah, or out of the waters of baptism, who swear by the name of the Lord, and make mention of the God of Israel, yet they swear not in truth nor in righteousness. Nevertheless, they call themselves of the holy city, but they do not stay themselves upon the God of Israel, who is the Lord of hosts. Yea, the Lord of hosts is his name. The message of these first two verses seems to really be a message against hypocrisy for those who call themselves Israel and come out of the waters of Judah and out of the waters of baptism, swear the name of the Lord, but nevertheless, they do not stay themselves upon the God of Israel, who is the Lord of hosts. So they, call themselves believers in name, but they don't actually follow through by doing the acts of believers, of those who would follow God. Verse 3, Behold, I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them, and I did show them suddenly. And I did it because I knew that thou art obstinate, and thy neck is iron sinew, and thy brow is brass. And I have even from the beginning declared to thee, before it came to pass, I showed them thee, and I showed them for fear, lest thou shouldst say, My idol hath done them, and my graven image and my molten image hath commanded them. So I would not know for sure what this meant if I didn't have like a little guide to help me interpret this. So I've read a couple of commentaries and made notes in my scriptures. So I'm referring to a couple of those when I provide the following explanation. So what I understand this to mean here is that God has declared himself to Israel from the beginning. So he's been trying to say, I'm here, I'm God. He's been revealing himself from the beginning, but that they are obstinate, and their neck is iron sinew, and the brow is brass. So that just means they're stubborn and they don't want to believe or listen to God. And I've declared these things from the beginning. Before I showed to thee, I showed them for fear lest thou should say, Mine idol hath done them. So he's saying he's prophesied of things to come, and that if you watch closely, you can see what these prophecies mean, and lest that you just dismiss them and say out of hand, no, God isn't doing those things. Verse 6, Thou hast seen and heard all this, and will ye not declare them? And that I have shown thee new things from this time, even hidden things, and thou didst not know them? Essentially meaning, I've prophesied of things that are going to happen, but you haven't paid even the least bit of attention. Verse 7, They are created now and not from the beginning, even before the day when thou heardst them not, they were declared unto thee, lest thou shouldst say, Behold, I knew them. So he's saying, I prophesied things that were going to happen, but if I hadn't told you, you wouldn't have known that they were going to happen. Verse 8, Yea, and thou heardest not, yea, thou knewest not, yea, from that time thy ear was not opened, for I knew that thou wouldst deal very treacherously, and was called a transgressor from the womb. So he's saying to Israel, you've never paid attention to me, and I've had trouble with you from the beginning. Verse 9, Nevertheless, for my name's sake will I defer mine anger, and for my praise will I refrain from thee, and I cut thee not off. He's saying, I, the Lord, have a reputation of being merciful, and I'm not going to destroy you completely. Verse 10, For behold, I have refined thee, and I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. So he is saying, I have chosen you, Israel. I'm going to make you purified. Now, upcoming in the next few verses 12 through 17, the main theme is that Israel is called and foreordained to serve. Those covenants are still alive and kicking today, and that we are actually part of that movement to help fulfill these covenants to Israel. Verse 12, hearken unto me, O Jacob, and Israel my called, for I am he, and I am the first, and I am also the last. So that's Jesus Christ declaring himself to them. Mine hand hath also laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand hath spanned the heavens. I call upon them, and they stand together. So he's saying he's the creator, and he is the covenant hand of power, and that they all need to stand up and listen. And this goes along with the first part of 14 also. All ye assemble yourselves and hear. Who among them hath declared these things unto them? The Lord hath loved him, yea, and he will fulfill his word which he hath declared by them, and he will do his pleasure on Babylon, and his arm shall come upon the Chaldeans. So he's saying that he will fulfill all of the things that he has promised to Israel, basically. And also the Lord, yea, I have spoken, I have called him to declare, I have brought him, and he shall make his way prosperous. So it's saying that Israel has a job to do, essentially, and God is going to be there to help. Holy cow, I just have to take a break. Are you doing okay? I know I'm struggling. I think Isaiah is so hard to understand, and I don't know about you, but these are not my favorite chapters to get personal inspiration from. But I do know, because I have read commentaries and I can see where they're coming from, that the message of Isaiah is one of hope. It's ultimately that he's coming to redeem Israel. He's going to keep his covenants with them, and he's going to protect those that follow him and vanquish enemies, and all will be well in the end. So, it's a positive message, but holy cow, it can be really hard. I'm not going to lie. Let's continue on. Verse 16. Come ye near unto me. I have not spoken in secret from the beginning. From the time that it was declared have I spoken, and the Lord God in his spirit has sent me. So God has always been reaching and speaking out to us. He's not been secret about what he's been doing. Verse 17, and thus saith the Lord my Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, I have sent him, the Lord thy God, who teacheth thee to profit, who leadeth thee by the way that thou shouldst go, hath done it. He's talking about how Christ has been sent for our profit and learning, although the grammar and the syntax is incredibly hard to get that out of there. Verse 18, O that thou hast hearkened to my commandments, then thy peace had been like a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. Aha! Now here's a verse I can finally relate to. Really, the Book of Mormon is a treasure hunt in finding something that you can take away and apply to your life. And so far, although I might say broadly, some of this chapter could be applied to my life, knowing that Christ is coming, he's keeping his covenants with Israel, and he's, going to vanquish all of his foes and all those wonderful things, that really there has not been a verse that stood out to me that would give me spiritual nourishment until we come here to verse 18. I love this one. Oh, that thou hast hearkened to my commandments, that thy peace may be as a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. So this really tells me that if I want peace as a river, that I need to hearken to the commandments of God. And I know I see that in my life. I definitely feel better about myself and about my day, about my week, month, and year if I'm striving to do good things with my life, to be intentional with the character that I'm crafting, and to make sure that I prioritize worship of God and emulation of Jesus Christ at the top of my priority and to-do list. And when I do that, I do feel more peace. So, hey, yay, we found a little treasure hunt here, a little nugget of gold in this very hard chapter. Verse 19, thy seed also had been as the sand, the offspring of thy bowels like the gravel thereof. His name should not have been cut off nor destroyed before me. So if we're obeying God and righteous and following him, then we're going to have, posterity and offspring and all that. And again, this is symbolic. This is not literal. This is symbolic, because Isaiah, the way I understand him, the way I've been taught, is that you have to interpret him symbolically. So if you're looking at having offspring, great amounts of offspring, it doesn't mean if you're righteous, you're going to have 40 kids. It just means that you will be generative and productive in your life, something like that. Go ye forth of Babylon, flee ye from the Chaldeans, with the voice of singing, declare ye, tell this, utter to the ends of the earth, say ye, the Lord hath redeemed his servant Jacob. So I like that message, to go forth with declaring that God is in charge and the Lord has redeemed the Israelites. Okay, and again, this is symbolic, and the thing about, I'm just getting weary. This is hard. Isaiah is so hard. The thing about Isaiah is that he can be interpreted on multiple levels. You can interpret him on the specific thing that he's saying, that the Lord is going to redeem his servant Jacob. So he is going to come back and keep his covenants that he made with the house of Israel. And then it can be interpreted more broadly, that whoever he has made promises with, he's going to keep that promise, and so on and so forth. And it can be looking back in the past, we can see how that's been fulfilled, and we can look into the future and see how that's been fulfilled. I think that's one of the reasons that Isaiah is so beloved, is because there's so many layers to it. And I recognize that I'm not an Isaiah scholar. I kind of survive it. I'm going to be totally honest. I think there's good things here, but it's hard for me. Okay, verse 21. And they thirsted not. He led them through the deserts. He caused the waters to flow out of the rock for them. He clave the rock also, and the waters gushed out. So I think he's referring to the story of Moses, how he's leading the children of Israel through the desert, and water comes out of the rock. We all know that story, and it could be symbolic that in these latter days, as he's gathering the house of Israel and he's going to redeem them, that he can lead us through symbolic deserts, and he can feed us on water out of a symbolic rock. So that might be places where you wouldn't normally see possibility, that there's going to be possibility. So that might be a verse that we could say, oh, maybe there's some application to me. Some place in my life where I don't see there's possibility. It's a desert. There's maybe nothing there for me, but in following God and worshiping him, if he's commanded me to do this, he can help the water come from the rock, so to speak. Okay, the last verse, and then we'll be through this. And notwithstanding he hath done all this, and greater also there is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. All right, and that's a good verse too. There's no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. And that one we can definitely take into our own lives and know that when we are wanting peace, that we need to align our actions with Christ. Again, that kind of connects to that early one about your peace being like a river. All right, I hope you have survived this. I know I barely did, but we have more Isaiah chapters to come, so we will hop back on the saddle next time and do this some more. Thanks so much for tuning in to learn more about the Book of Mormon, and we'll see you next time.